Critical section problem. Critical section problem is a way to understand process synchronization. Consider a system of n cooperating processes. The processes in this set are P0, P1, P2 up to Pn minus 1. These are the cooperating processes. Each process has a segment of code called critical section. So every process in this set has a section of code, and this code section is known as critical section. Process may be changing common variables, updating tables, or writing files in this critical section. In this region, which is known as critical section, process may be changing common variables, or updating common tables, or writing to common files. This means critical section contains shared data that could be accessed by all the processes in this particular set. Critical section can be accessed by only one process at a time because critical section contains shared data. In order to maintain data consistency, only one process should be allowed to access the critical section area at any given time. If we allow more than one processes to execute in their critical sections, then in this case, it may lead to data inconsistencies. Critical section contains shared variables which need to be synchronized to maintain consistency of data. When one process is in its critical section, no other process should be in its critical section because every process in this given set has critical section. And while a process is executing in its critical section, the other processes should not be allowed to execute in their critical sections. And why do we need this restriction? This restriction is imposed because we want to ensure the data integrity. Critical section problem is to design a protocol that processes can use to cooperate. In this figure, you can see the general structure of a process PI. A process PI is composed of entry section, which is followed by the critical section. An exit section follows the critical section, and finally there is a remainder section. Entry section is the part of the process which decides the entry of a particular process into its critical section. So you can say entry section is like a gatekeeper, which allows the entry to this critical region, which contains the shared data. So entry section, it has the code that ensures that only one process should be executing in its critical section. And this code, this entry code, decides that whether this process should be allowed to enter in its critical section or it should not be allowed to enter in its critical section. Critical section. Critical section area contains the shared variables. Only one process can enter at any time. So if multiple processes are executing concurrently, and these processes are cooperating processes, that is, they are sharing some data, in that case, only one process should be allowed to enter in its critical section. The other processes, they should be prohibited. They must wait until the first process it finishes with its critical section. Exit section. This part of the process, it allows other processes that are waiting in their entry section to enter into the critical section. So exit section, this part of the process contains the necessary code that will allow the other processes to execute in their critical section. While a process has been executing in critical section, the other processes who want to execute their critical section, they must be put on hold. That is, those processes will be waiting in their entry section. And when the first process, it completes with its critical section, then in exit section, it will mention that it has completed its critical section. So one of the waiting processes should be allowed to execute its critical section. Remainder section. Rest of the part of the process code is known as remainder section. Each process must ask permission to enter its critical section. The section of the code that implements this request is the entry section. Critical section may be followed by exit section and then remainder section. This figure shows the structure of two cooperating processes, process PI and process PJ. Process PI, this process has one critical section, and process PJ, it has two critical sections. As you can see that process PI, it starts with the remainder section. Remember, everything apart from the critical section, entry and exit section is the remainder section. So this part of the process PI, this is the remainder section. And processes can execute their remainder section concurrently without any error condition or data or violating any kind of data integrity. So remainder section, it doesn't hold any kind of shared data. So processes can execute the remainder section concurrently. However, in order to execute critical section, we need to solve the critical section problem. And you see process PI, its critical section is followed by another remainder section. In case of process PJ, this is the remainder section. This remainder section is followed by a critical section, which is again followed by remainder section, then another critical section, and then the remainder region. Let me repeat again that remainder section can be executed without any problem because it doesn't hold any kind of shared data. However, in order to execute critical section, we must ensure that only one process, either PI should be allowed to execute its critical section or process PJ should be allowed to execute its critical section. Both of these processes, they cannot execute their critical section concurrently. Criteria for CSP solution. Any solution to critical section problem must satisfy three requirements. The first of these three requirements is mutual exclusion. It means if process Pi is executing in its critical section, then no other processes can be executing in their critical section. For example, we can say that critical section is just like an ATM machine. Only one person at a time can use this ATM machine. So only one person should be allowed in the room which is having ATM machine. The other person, the other people who want to use the ATM machine, they must wait outside that room. And when the first person has finished using the ATM machine, then one of the waiting people that should be allowed to enter the room which is having ATM machine. So this is like mutual exclusion, that only one person or only one process should be allowed to execute in its critical section. The other processes, they must wait. If they want to enter their critical section, they must wait until the first process completes executing the critical section. The second condition is progress. If no process is executing in its critical section and there exist some processes that wish to enter their critical section, then only those processes that are not executing in the remainder section can participate in deciding which will enter its critical section next. And this selection cannot be postponed indefinitely. This means if there are multiple processes which are having, and every process is having critical section. For example, suppose there are four processes, process P1, P2, P3, and P4. And process P1 and process P2, these two processes, they want to enter their critical section. Because these processes wish to enter their critical section, these processes, they will be in their entry section waiting for the permission so they could enter their critical section. Also suppose the other two processes, P3 and P4, they are not executing in their critical section. So the selection that which process will be allowed to enter in the critical section, it must be, this selection must be made from the set of two processes now, process P1 and P2, because these are the two processes who are waiting to enter their critical section. The rest of the two processes, P3 and P4, they don't want to execute their critical section. And moreover, progress condition also means that the processes which are not executing in their critical section, they must not block the access of other processes to their critical sections. This means process P3 and process P4, because these two processes are not executing in their critical section, so these two processes, they should not block the process P1 or process P2 to enter their critical section. The third condition is bounded waiting. A bound or time limit must exist on the number of times that other processes are allowed to enter their critical sections after a process has made a request to enter its critical section and before that request is granted. Let me give you example of two processes, process P1 and process P2. And suppose process P1, it has requested to enter its critical section. At the same time, process P2, it also has requested to enter its critical section. Suppose system allows process P2 to enter its critical section. So now process P2 will be executing in its critical section and process P1 will be waiting to enter its critical section. After the process P2 has finished executing its critical section, it again requests to enter its critical section. And suppose this request is again granted. So process P2, it will again execute its critical section while process P1 is still waiting. Now this process can keep on that every time process P2, its request is granted. So what will happen? Process P1 will starve. To avoid this starvation, we should have some time limit that after how many attempts process P1 should be allowed. For example, we may say that after this, that process P1 has requested to enter its critical section, process P2 can execute its critical section for only 2 times. And if process P2 requests to enter its critical section for the 3rd time, this request should not be granted. Rather, control should be transferred to the process P1 because process P2 has exceeded its number of attempts to enter the critical section. Critical section problem solution. Critical section problem can be solved using one of the following schemes. The first solution is software-based solution. The second solution is hardware-based solution. And finally, operating system also provides some solution to critical section problem.